Good morning, Scotland. Good morning, social media land. I hope you are well. It is Tuesday, the 14th of January, 2025. What would you do if you knew your movement was being undermined? How would you react if you saw division, doubt, and disinformation spreading amongst those fighting for the same cause? These questions aren't theoretical for the Scottish independence movement. They are real, pressing, and demand answers. When I asked ChatGPT to devise a plan to destabilize our movement, the results were frightening and detailed. It outlined tactics designed to exploit divisions, discredit leaders, and sap the energy from grassroots activists. And while this was a hypothetical exercise, it reflected many of the challenges we already face. The AI's first recommendation was to exploit division, and let's be honest, our movement has divisions. We've seen it with the fallout between Nicola and Alex, a divide that created the Alba Party and split supporters into competing camps. We've seen it in tensions between the SNP and the Scottish Greens, with disagreements over climate policies and healthcare fracturing a once very strong coalition. We've seen it in debates over timing for a second referendum, with urgency clashing against caution. These disagreements, often amplified by social media, give Unionist opponents the ammunition they need to portray us as chaotic and unprepared. Every debate, every disagreement, every split makes undecided voters wonder if we're capable of leading an independent Scotland. But division isn't the only tactic. Discrediting leadership is another powerful weapon. We watched media coverage of Alex Salmond's court battles and Nicola Sturgeon being investigated, and this overshadowed their work for independence. These narratives don't just attack the individuals, they attack the movement by undermining trust in its leaders. Without credible leadership, our movement falters. Supporters lose confidence, undecided voters turn away, and the energy driving the cause dwindles. The AI also targeted grassroots activism, the backbone of our movement. It outlined how fake accounts and bots and agent provocateurs could be used to create confusion and mistrust. Imagine organising a rally only to find misinformation about the time or the place spread online, or worse still, it clashes with another rally. Imagine seeing fringe voices amplified and making the entire movement look extreme or disorganised. We see this quite frequently. These disruptions weaken our ability to connect with everyday Scots and keep the movement energised. But perhaps the most insidious tactic is sowing doubts about the feasibility of independence. We've seen this playbook before, back in 2014, where economic uncertainty was used to sway voters' opinions. Questions about currency, trade, public services still dominate Unionist arguments today. The Gers report is waved like a weapon despite its limitations to paint Scotland as financially unviable. And now we see powerful slogans like Labour's "It's time for change" and Anis Sarwar's "A new direction for Scotland" subtly shifting the focus away from independence. These messages exploit uncertainty, making independence feel like a gamble rather than an opportunity. Unionist campaigns also target undecided voters with tailored messaging. These targeted appeals are designed to push undecided Scots towards the perceived safety of the Union. And all of this is reinforced by media narratives shaping public perception. Pro-union bias, cultural touchpoints like royal celebrations, and a constant framing of independence as reckless work together to solidify the status quo. Then the Unionist parties, they all band together all the time to amplify these efforts, and they say the same things. Now is not the time for another referendum. No, it is a voluntary union, but you just can't leave. The narrative of instability and risk undermines public confidence in independence. But here's the thing. Recognising these tactics is the first step towards countering them. We must understand that these strategies thrive on division and doubt. We must rise above them by building resilience, inspiring confidence, and most of all, uniting. We can't afford to let our movement be defined by disagreements or undermined by distractions. Every one of us has a role to play, from grassroots activists to party leaders, in protecting and strengthening our cause. The fight for independence isn't just about winning the referendum, it's about showing Scotland and the world that we are ready to lead. Knowledge is power, and we have the power to turn these challenges into opportunities. And now, if we got ourselves together, we can act appropriately and deliver this. Because Scotland's future depends on us uniting and doing the right thing. We've seen the court case for Alex Salmond, which many of us feel was a bit of a stitch-up. We've seen the blue tent for Nicola Sturgeon outside your house. And then we have the divisions within the movement itself. All these things that we know are happening. But how much of this is amplified by people just putting conjecture in, putting their big friggin' wooden spoon and stirring it all? I wonder about that quite frequently. This is why I try my best to put out a positive message, to turn the independence movement towards Scotland rather than towards itself. We need to look outside of our movement and look at what other people perceive us as. Because there's no point in actually doing anything if we're squabbling amongst ourselves. I mean, why wouldn't we? Why can't we go and pick a fight with the right people instead of the wrong people? Just because you vote Alapa and I vote SNP, or I vote SNP1 and you vote both votes SNP, doesn't mean that we can't get along. What it means is that we're passionate enough to do what we believe is right. And that's so important. But what is more important than all that is our belief in independence. And sometimes we have to look sideways and think, how are we going to achieve independence if we're split apart, if we're not unified? So the first step, in my opinion, is to vote for Scotland, to create a Holyrood Parliament that is pro-Scottish, that diminishes the presence of English and Unionist parties. And that is by voting for Scotland, by delivering a pro-Scottish Parliament, a pro-Scottish government, and a pro-Scottish opposition. And it's so possible. It's all there for us to take. It really is. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you'll join us then. Take care and have a tremendous Tuesday.
Fight together, our freedom is near. Oh, it's one nation, one fight, one hand to the sky. Together we rise, divided we die. Lay down your colors, your anger, your pride. For Scotland will rise when we stand side by side. The old wars of Wallace, the tears of the past, they teach us a lesson that must hold fast. We've one common enemy, it's not our own. It's the chains they built from Westminster Stone. Oh, it's one nation, one fight, one hand of a nation we're fighting for. Look to the future, see what we can build. A nation of fairness, a dream fulfilled. But it starts with unity, a bond that won't break. For freedom is ours, it's ours to take. Oh, it's one nation, one fight, one hand to the sky. Together we rise, divided we die. Lay down your colors, your anger, your pride. For Scotland will rise when we stand side by side. For Scotland will rise when we stand side by side. Yes, Scotland will rise, it's our nation, our pride.